Now I think it's time for us to kind of try to demo the app a little bit. So this is the one that we got. So I'm going to open up Supersense. I'm going to turn up my volume here a little bit. So of course, the difference between the paid version and unpaid version, now both would do what we call the quick read, and by default is set to quick read. And then let's have a little overview of it, so people who are not familiar with Supersense would get familiar with it, the layout of the app and all of that. Menu, 9:16 a.m. So at the top left, we have the menu. And then we got the flashlight on. So it means if you do something, it's going to turn on the flashlight. You could switch that. It's a toggle. Flashlight mode changed to off. So now you hear it says flashlight set to off. Flashlight mode changed to auto. Then this auto. Flashlight mode changed to on. And the reason why you're not hearing it too loud is because I need to turn up my media volume. Flashlight mode changed to off. There we go. Flashlight mode changed to auto. Flashlight mode changed to on. So those are the toggles that you have with the flashlight. It's either on or off or set to auto. I think flashlight mode changed to off. Flashlight mode changed to auto. We should leave it on auto. Then there's the help. And so, like I said, by default, we have the select to read. And then you have the explore, the things that we talked about earlier. And find, you want to find a specific object. And start reading. That's when, if you tap here, then it will start capturing what's in front of the camera view. And so here we could switch the modes. Let's look at the modes. So when you tap on the mode, it arranges them in a stack order on the top part of the phone. So, at least 1 foot away and parallel to the document. Accessibility volume set to 4. Quick read. Read short text instantly. Hold the phone at least 1 foot away from the text. So that's the first one. Document. Premium feature. Reads longer documents with advanced features. Hold the phone at least 1 foot away and parallel to the document. So the document is a paid version, so you cannot scan a document if you don't have a subscription. Read multi-page documents with the assistance of smart guidance. Hold the phone at least 1 foot away and parallel to the documents. After you scan a page, you can add more pages or finish scanning to get the combined results. I think that's also paid. Currency. Premium feature. Recognize currencies and nearly estimated value of a banknote. Hold your camera to a single banknote at least 1 feet away and the app will read it out for you. Now, I don't know what type of currencies it supports. I know I have a Chinese yuan somewhere here, and I have a British something somewhere in my bag somewhere. Imports an image or PDF from the photos or downloads and reads the document mode. Now, anyone can use this, whether you're a paid member or you're not a paid member. You can import your PDFs just like we talked about earlier on. Text history. Displays your text recognition history in a single screen so you can navigate through the recently recognized text and share it to other apps. All right, so that would be it. So how about we give it a little test? And I have this book on my lap. I'm reading text. Please point your camera to a text. Extreme fires worth environment consigle 1. Time fires turning heroic to BL fires turning or Germany had very inconceived never been. Fires MCH more dramatic can law. Remember King Ram on where we are where seconds and who generated Janice. Well, my lady who's reading that thing. So this is one of those Voxygen voices that we once upon a time had on the Play Store. Those voices are gone. So anyway, those voices are gone. And so I'm using, that's Amanda. And so now I want to go to the document mode. Currency, premium feature, read multi-page scanning, read documents, quick read short text instantly. Multi-page scanning, premium feature, read multi-page documents with the assistance of smart guidance. Hold the phone at least 1 foot away and parallel to the documents. After you scan a page, you can add more pages or finish scanning to get the combined results. Okay. Document, premium feature. Let's try the document one first. I'm reading document. Please point your camera to a document. Move your device slightly to the left and toward yourself. Processing. Okay, so it captured that. Now, after capturing, you could either hit play, or you can use your screen reader to read it.
Underbrush and make WTY for new growth. Furcanserias all and trigger seed germinatia. Humans long relied on central fire for warm flight, cooking, farming and protection from predators. Fire can also lay waste and destroy. Scientists believe climate change with prolonged droughts and record temperatures is contributing to increasingly devastating wildfire. We are seeing more fire activity, more extreme weather, extreme fires all over the world.
Well, that's just a little book, my kids' book. So definitely, it's a good app if you. But I would suggest that we wait for when they're on sale. These guys regularly do sales, and like Shane had indicated, I think something is coming up in the month of March. And so, you want to start saving some of those taxes. If you're here in the US, you file for your taxes. Maybe cut down some, put away some $40, $50 or whatever, so you could get that lifetime subscription of the Supersense.
I was just going to say, how do you think it compares to some of the other apps on the market of that type, like your Lookout, so you see, or your Envision AIs? What I quite liked when you were demonstrating the document thing was, in terms of orienting the camera to the document, it seems to use more natural language than some of the other ones. So it doesn't, it doesn't talk about what edges are visible. It sort of says, move it in ways that are easily understandable. But I just wonder what you thought compared to some of the other ones.
That's a very good observation, Edward. Really, there's gonna be the other apps, and this is what we're gonna be doing. I think maybe in our next episode, we're totally gonna just dedicate a whole section or a whole episode on these various scanning apps, because it depends. Sometimes people prefer it this way, sometimes people prefer it the other way. And so I think that the good news is that, I think for me, it all boils down to how does it scan the material that I'm after? Does it have it accurate? Are there any errors, more errors than I needed, or maybe one or two or three errors, and I can live with that? And so, what do you guys think about that? We have the Lookout, we have the Envision, we have the other guys. What is it? Legere, Legere, the Voice Dream Scanner. It used to be called Voice Dream Scanner, and now it's called the Legere or something like that. Edward, what's the correct pronunciation? I think it's not like a French. You're from the UK. You probably know how to pronounce that thing better.
I would have gone for Legere as well. I don't know, to be honest, but Legere sounded right to me. Yeah, the old voice stream. You got Speak as well, haven't you?
Then we have Speak. Yes, our friend Eyal from Israel has that Speak. Yeah, so Dennis and Austin, what do you guys think?
I think for different scenarios, you have to try different apps.
I think Supersense has, perhaps right now, as of this moment, more potential than any of them, especially if you need barcodes. With the going away of the ID mate, the ability to enter your own barcodes, which is what I believe it's either out or it's coming out, where you can, if it's not in there, you can name it if it's not in their database. That is a very powerful thing, and I think that can be a very big thing, and no other thing on Android has that. Lookout doesn't do that. Where else it will be more powerful is if it gives you, for example, that you scan a pizza and it tells you the direction, how to cook it, things of that nature. which the ID Mate could do. If they do that, this thing can be a game changer. So if you're on the fence about buying it, I'd buy it, because this thing could be a game changer. Lookout currently doesn't do any of these things. No other one does on Android. The things that this thing will be doing by the end of the year. So if you don't buy it, I'd definitely be monitoring it to see where it's at, because it's only going to get better, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth.
That's true, Dennis. And I think that one thing that the Lookout doesn't have is that barcode reading. Of course, it does have the reading of food labels.
It does food labels, but it doesn't.
Food labels
It doesn't do. It
it's really
doesn't give
good.
you more details, and that's something that they should be, or allow you to add your own. If it doesn't recognize it and you know what it is, it should allow you to type it in. And
Yeah.
Supersense should also allow you to type or dictate the barcode information in.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. So like I said, though, we didn't touch on that, but, just like we talked about, in the interview earlier with Shane, we touched on that, and how that could be either reliable or unreliable. But what's going to happen here is that when we pit these apps against each other, then people could see which one they want to keep. If you don't have enough room, then you know which one you want to keep. I think that makes all the difference. But if you have room, like I do, I have, a folder of OCR packages, and there are 3 pages in that folder, because I have all kinds of, OCR related apps. So when we do this demonstration or this comparison coming up sometime down the line, maybe next episode or the episode thereafter, I'm going to totally dedicate that to OCR packages, and then we'll see which one comes up on top. Of course, it's always going to be relative, but then
that is always so subjective.
Yes,
because
it is.
What you may like, I may say no, it's lacking. So that everybody needs to take that for what it's worth. It's subjective. You may have different needs than us. You may have different wants than us. And if an app that you would like to use doesn't have it, I can't stress enough, reach out to these app developers and let them know, hey, I need to see this feature or that feature. And state why. Don't just say you want to see X feature and hit send. That's not good enough. State why. What are people going to gain by this feature? Why is it important to you? What would that do to enhance the app? And generally speaking, if you can make a good use case, you will at least get them to listen. And you got to start somewhere.
That's correct. Hey, Edward or Austin, any comments about that before we?
I think Supersense is easier to use because it tells you naturally move your phone here and there, not like other apps.
Well, actually, I think they all do, though, to be honest. I think the one that doesn't, well, I'm not going to spoil the movie. Let's keep that for the next episode. And of course, like, both Dennis and I said, all this is subjective, depends on the person using it and what that person wants to see. So, hey, should we transition to our next segment? And that would be the one I've been waiting for, so important for me. I always love this segment of the podcast. And that would be the my Android journey story. Unless you guys have any comments, then I want to have that opportunity to say, hey, Edward, give us that Android journey story of yours, Dennis and Austin, you guys have any closing comments about Supersense before we have our guest take us through that memory lane?
I think it's a good app, and it will definitely bring more features to the end of the year.
Again, as Shane said in the interview, Supersense is very much user driven. So if there's something you want to see, reach out to him and let him know what it is you want to see.
Well, thank you so much.